in the United States, we don't have that many holidays as it is. So your ass needs to be fucking relaxing. You should not be stressing yourself out.
Hey everybody, I'm Andrew.
Mike.
And we're the Midlife Guys. So Mike, how are you doing today?
I am incredibly excited, but also humbled. And would you like to know why?
I would love to know why.
So since launching this podcast back in September, and we're taping the last week of October right now, we have raked up nearly 4,500 views or listeners across YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all these other platforms that we're on.
Woo!
So I want to start off this episode by saying how thankful I am for everyone who's been tuning in and listening. And I also want to share a very quick anecdote. So a friend of mine last week was asking me, are you on Spotify? And I said, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. And he was right there with me. He went on his Spotify app and was like, yes, you're right here. And I was like, well, that makes me look like an asshole.
And like a midlife guy who doesn't know how to use technology.
Yes.
I feel like that's just going to keep
God
happening.
damn it, I know how to use technology. I just didn't.
Do you?
I didn't know.
Yes, we're in all the places, which is great. Yeah.
All the places.
I second that too. Thank you all for listening. It really does mean a lot. I think Mike does too. I know I definitely have fun doing this. It's been nice to have these conversations and to hear back from some of you all. So thank you. We really do mean it. And if you do like it, definitely share it with your friends too. We'd love to get more people listening.
I would also like to thank everyone who has been sending in their questions. We have an email address. It's info@themidlifeguys.com. But most people are leaving their questions on YouTube, which is great. And I want to specifically call out a really good question that we got on our episode about friends. And it said, how do you maintain friendships with people who have kids when I don't have kids myself? So I think this is a really good question, and one that we kind of touched upon. But I take kind of a three-pronged approach to this. First, you have to meet those friends where they are in terms of their schedule. I mean, speaking from my personal experience, you have to give your friends who are parents the flexibility that they need. Find out what's going to work and what won't work with their schedule, and then plan from there. Second, plan way in advance, because these folks need babysitters, and sometimes it takes a while to line up a babysitter or getting one of their parents to take care of their kids. So make sure that you are planning way, way, way in advance. Finally, you also can just hang out with your friends and their kids, but not at a brewery. Don't bring your goddamn kids to the brewery. Could be a backyard barbecue or meeting up at the park. You could just meet them where they are. And if you don't know the brewery joke, go back to our first episode. I go on a whole big rant about this. But the point is that being in midlife is hard. Being a parent in midlife is fucking harder.
I second that.
Those of us who don't have kids need to understand that, and we have to meet those friends where they are.
I think that's right. I'll give you my quick perspective, even though this person probably didn't ask for it because I'm the one with kids. But I do think you're right that, it's two things, because I've had these conversations with friends of mine who don't have kids. And I think the two big things are being patient, like, please be patient with us. It's not that I don't want to hang out. It's usually just, to Mike's point, like trying to schedule stuff takes a long time. And there's just lots of planning that goes into it. And the other thing too is when you're being patient, also realize that, I want to hang out with you. I love my kids. I love spending time with my kids, but sometimes I don't want to be around my kids and I like to hang out with other people, do adult things, have adult conversations, do non-kid things. So the willingness is definitely there. It's just trying to make like the schedule or whatnot work. So just hang with us and be patient with us. We do want to hang out.
And that is what I want to talk to you about today. Patience, understanding, and grace as we enter the holiday season. So, according to a survey, U.S. adults feel joyous but overwhelmed by the holidays, as nearly 9 in 10, 89%, say that concerns such as not having enough money, missing loved ones, and anticipating family conflict cause them stress at this time of year. It's according to the American Psychological Association. 43% of middle-aged adults say that the stress of the holidays interferes with their ability to enjoy them, and 36% said the holidays feel like a competition. Well, that's not fucking great. So what say you, Andrew? What say you?
It's honest, but it's not great. I will say I have lots of thoughts about all the things that you just mentioned. I guess we can start with the first that comes to my mind is I definitely understand some of the loneliness piece too, about sometimes the holidays can feel a little bit lonely. I live about 5-ish hours away from my parents and siblings and most of my extended family. And although we have great friends, and I feel like we have a kind of a Richmond family, we call them, people who are local, and my wife's family is only about an hour away, so we get to see them more frequently, which is great. There's something about the holidays, though. I guess it's just like the nostalgia or bringing up memories about being a kid that you do feel like extra longing to wish to spend more time, or at least I do, with my family, my loved ones, and with kids, it can be hard to get up to see them every single, Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff like that. So I definitely understand kind of feeling that, missing that piece or that connection. I also would definitely 100% understand the whole holidays kind of being stressful about money, because we've talked about that on some previous episodes, but also the idea of it kind of becoming a competition. I feel like that's become even more apparent since having kids, and as the kids get older, especially our older son who's now in third grade, as he gets older, I feel like there seems to be this, sense of like who's getting what gifts and who gets the super expensive like video game system this year, and like what other big gifts are all these kids getting. And it's hard not to get sucked into that. Fortunately, he's got a good friend group where we know a lot of their parents and we all talk to each other and say like what we are thinking about, or when he comes home and says everybody's getting the new PS5, and it's like no one is getting that, you're fine. But it's also, it's easy to get sucked into that competition. I feel that, and like my wife and I, we talk about that sometimes, of like trying to have to be really intentional not to get sucked into feeling like you have to buy more things and do more. So that's definitely a big thing. And then the stress is another one that I think the holidays are a lot of fun and they're joyful, but they can be stressful. And this may come as a shock to some folks, but I'm an A-type personality. I like things to be perfect. And so as you become midlifers, I feel like there's sort of this transition where we're now hosting more holiday stuff, where like, growing up was always grandparents, then your parents. Now I feel like it's kind of getting to be like our time to host big holiday dinners or parties or gatherings, which is wonderful. And it's a lot of fun to do, but I will definitely stress myself out knowing that we're hosting people and that we want to make it perfect for everybody and make all these great memories. And even though I know I shouldn't stress out and no one's going to care if it's not perfect, I will still stress myself out. So I'd be curious if other midlifers kind of have that same mentality of, now that we feel like we're kind of leading some of these holiday gatherings and stuff, if they get stressed too, or if I'm just a sicko who stresses myself out because I want everything to be perfect all the time.
I can attest to the fact that you are a type A personality. I get stressed out because you stress yourself out. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
But
it's part of what
yes.
makes me me. It's great.
I suppose so. That's wonderful. But the thing that stands out to me is that 36% number about holidays feeling like a competition.
Yeah.
This is way too fucked up for me. So put aside, the reason for the holiday, the holiday season. In the United States, we don't have that many holidays as it is. So your ass needs to be fucking relaxing. You should not be stressing yourself out. What is wrong with you? So, no, it doesn't matter if you have the biggest light display or the tackiest sweater or all this other. Stop. Just stop. But, it got me thinking that I feel like this has been a gradual climb in terms of like treating the holidays as any holiday as a competition. When I was growing up, we used to go to my granddad's river house for 4th of July. And there was always this like parade, and people would sit there and and decorate their boats, or they're riding lawnmowers, or, whatever the fuck they were sitting there, you know, taking down the road. And they'd spend weeks on this. People would spend weeks and weeks and weeks trying to like decorate and create the most memorable float as part of this parade. And I'm like, nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to remember who won the competition. And I'm like, so maybe this is something that we have just gradually built over the years, and it's getting worse and worse. And I've got, we've got to turn that around, because the holiday season, no holiday, but especially the holiday season, should not be a competition. We got to get back to the basics here.
I mean, yeah, I do think some of the competition creep has definitely happened. I feel like we talked about Halloween a couple episodes ago, but that definitely feels like that's more of a competition with all these people and they're like, 10, 20-foot like skeletons and other stuff that they put in their yards or decorate a ton. I feel like Christmas light competitions have kind of been a thing. At least I remember in like the 80s and the 90s, that was sort of a thing. I mean, who doesn't love Christmas Vacation? Like that's the whole point of the movie, is his like crazy obsession with lights. But I think you're right that sort of the level of competition seems like it's increased. I think one culprit too, which I might sound like a broken record, but I think is true, is people share so much stuff on social media about how great their life is and how perfect this is and look how wonderful. And like, I don't know how much of that is true, if any of that is true, but I do think, when we're constantly
filtered reality.
Yeah, it is filtered reality. But when you're inundated constantly with it, it's hard, I guess, to not think like, oh, I have to do more. Or I have to keep up with, whatever random person who is saying that they're living the perfect life or doing the perfect thing for the holidays. But yeah, the competition is not great. I do agree with that. Yeah. What I think it's this idea of like, how do we kind of get back to the basics, to your point, to like start to enjoy the holidays more, or try to. And another way to think about that is sort of the money that we spend on the holidays as well. And how do we get back to the basics of finances? And you had shared with me, Mike, this really great report that blew my mind, that said that the average amount spent per person this holiday season was going to be over $1,500 a person. And that's actually down a little bit from the previous year. I think it was like a PricewaterhouseCoopers or some big accounting firm had this huge study. But anyway, the spending of being, over $1,500 a person spent on the holidays just boggled my mind. I was thinking, as a family of four, if we're average, that's like $6,000. Or even if you take the kids out of it, if it's my wife and me, then you're like spending what, $3,000 on all sorts of holiday stuff. And I don't know exactly what was included in that number, but that seems outrageous to me. Like that's just a wild and large number. And as Mike knows, one of my other endearing qualities is that I am frugal. And so I don't love to spend money as it is. And so the idea that someone's dropping a couple grand just on Christmas stuff just kind of blows my mind.
Yeah. Frugal is not the word that I would use.
I know it's not the word you would use. That's the word I'm using to describe myself.
Yeah, it is outrageous. $1,500 per person. And that's down from 2024. And I'm like, Jesus, people are really just maxing out those credit cards. So, like, for me, I start budgeting for Christmas in like August. That's not when I start buying things, but I start budgeting and thinking about what I'm going to buy for folks. But this goes back to like the competition thing. You don't need to buy the biggest gift for people. It's not a competition. If you let it be a competition, you're just ruining the whole reason for the season here. The holiday season's supposed to be about good food, good drinks, good people. Take out, the religious part of it. Just focus more on the people, less about the consumerism. We're just spending too much money. And if you don't get that, you're just fucking lost.
Can I ask you a question about that though? Can I ask you a question? Because I having watched some amount of children's programming regarding the holidays, and that being the theme of I would say 110% of children's programming around the holidays. Is anybody actually listening to that advice? Like everybody knows, like yes, it's about the people, it's about the relationships, hug your loved ones, etc., etc. It's not about the consumerism. everyone still goes and buys gifts, because like if you don't get a
Yeah.
Christmas gift, like I don't know, you're still kind of or I'm Jewish, a Hanukkah gift, whatever. But like if you don't get a gift, like it's still, there's still this like sort of, people still do it. I don't think people are listening to the advice from being disseminated by you and all of children's holiday.
Yeah, I mean, the toy company's got a hell of a marketing budget, so it is tough. But I think I think it comes down to when people feel flush with cash, they tend to be a lot more generous. They spend when they probably shouldn't, even if things are going well. But I know, going back to like '08 or '07, '08, '09, when things were really, really tough, those were actually some of the best holiday seasons I had, because we weren't spending a lot of money. We were fortunate that it's not like the money was not there. We all had jobs and stuff, but we weren't spending a ton of money. We were just doing things that were more enjoyable. And are people going to listen to Andrew and I or any of us about this because we talk about this? Probably not, but at least we can keep trying. Keep trying. Enough with the consumerism, enough with the buying stupid shit that you're going to just give away in a year because your kids will be bored of the toys. Just enough.
To be clear, I don't think it's that people are gonna like say, "Oh, Mike said it," so now I'm gonna. I don't think that's it. I think everybody knows that that's objectively correct, and is
But
like,
they do it anyway.
But I don't care. Like people know salad is healthier than fries, but when you order a burger and they say, "Do you want salad or fries?" you almost always get the fries. But you're like, I know this is the wrong answer, but it's the answer I want to go with. I feel like it's the same with the holiday gifts.
Well, and I think it's like a scale too, though. About slot, like I don't know, like how do you think about? So I think you are right, but it's what can you do? So you're still going to buy stuff, right, and do things. I think that's right. No one's going to stop doing that. But I don't know. Can you transition more of it to do like experiences or things that are maybe not just like here's a bunch of plastic crap? I mean, that's what I try to do that. I don't know if others do or not, but it's like, and we talk about our kids, like what can we get our kids or tell others to get our kids that are like different, like either museums or like activities that they can do or things like, sometimes like as a family, we're like, oh, we're saving up for like a vacation or whatnot. Like, you kind of find ways, can you make it more experience oriented? I think that's one way to maybe try to take a step in the direction of, yes, we're still going to get things, but maybe we try to make them more meaningful and not just a bunch of crap. And another thing I'm kind of interested in what you all think and what other folks, if they want to put in the comments, think is, I'll notice probably the past couple of years, my siblings and I have now gotten to a point where we're like, don't give each other anything. Like we're just, we don't need to be swapping gift cards with each other. Like that's fine. Like let's try to find times where we can all get together as like a big family or something. And like, I'm curious if others are doing that. Cause I feel like since midlife, my gifts to other midlife age people have definitely kind of decreased because I feel like it's more, can we spend time together and not just, again, all have like a gift card exchange with one another.
Yeah. And frame it to your point. I'm not convinced that everyone does know the right method. It's like, oh, it's about, I think there's a pretty significant percentage of the population that has no idea why we're really celebrating the holidays. They just love the shit. They just love the gifts and all the bullshit that comes with the holiday season. Not saying that's everybody. I'm just saying this. I know those people. They would never step inside a church to save themselves, but man, they would like to go all out on the bullshit stuff that they buy.
And thank you for bringing this up. I'm now going to get a comment from my mom who has the reason for the season bumper sticker on her car about, that keep Christ in Christmas. So I'll get a comment like, you should know about that. But I think it's true. A lot of people just celebrate, just because they want to give gifts and hang out, and they're, not necessarily tethered to anything specific.
So a final topic I wanted to talk about regarding the holidays is family conflict. This is something that a lot of midlifers have to deal with. It could be that drunk uncle or someone hurting mom's feelings because her pie was overcooked. I feel like no holiday season goes by without someone's feelings getting hurt. What say you, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true. I know the word conflict seems kind of a lot to me. Maybe tension is better. That feels less like intense than conflict. But yeah, I mean, I think that's true. That I feel like that's always existed, but it does feel like as sort of at least in the United States, maybe in other parts of the world, this is true too. But it's like culture wars and politics like seeps into everything now. It feels like it's like there's nothing that really isn't manufactured into some sort of a controversy or doesn't feel like exhausting. So that I think is tough. Um, so I'd love to move away from that. And can we get back to just some, like let's not all be at each other's throats about random stuff.
Nope, nope. Pandora's box is open now. We
Yeah,
can
probably.
never go back.
Well, so how do we deal with it then? Is maybe the question of like you avoid, topics. You obviously trying to get together, spend time with family. You don't want to have conflict and tension. I was trying to think about, you know, the ways that we celebrate the holidays. And luckily, again, we love spending time with our family and everyone generally gets along, which is great. But I think we have kind of two rules in my family, at least, or definitely my wife and I have, because I mentioned earlier, my family, most of my family like kind of lives far away. And so my wife's family is also about an hour or so away. So we typically either host people or go somewhere for like Thanksgiving or Christmas, or if others celebrate other holidays for that type of thing. And we generally have a rule that after about 4 or so nights, we're probably good. Like there's this like magic number where if you stay for too long, then everyone kind of starts to get on each other's nerves a little bit. And likewise, when we're all together, it's typically like a couple hours of togetherness. Then everybody needs a little break. So we go do a nap or someone has quiet time or we all like kind of do our own thing for a little bit, just because I think that, it's good to have those breaks in there. If we're around one another too often, I feel like that just leads to the pressure cooker.
So I'm going to share what's worked for me. I don't know if this will work for everyone, but I'm going to share what has worked for me. So, first off, with any holiday gathering, I do walk in with like 2 to 3 discussion topics, really light things like what is your favorite holiday movie and why? Or has anyone read any good books lately? And tell me why it's so good. It's just about diverting attention from these hot button issues. Um, a second thing that I've done is create tasks for people. So this worked 2 years ago. I found this incredibly elaborate holiday cocktail recipe on the Food Channel or the Food Network. I can't remember what it's called. Um, and there's like 50 different steps and all of these very complex ingredients. But I got everybody to participate in creating the cocktail. And because they were so focused on their part of it, whether it was chopping this up or mixing this, whatever it was, that really worked. The third recommendation, and I'm going to sound like an 80-year-old man for saying this, but games do work, especially things like charades, which are just like really silly, stupid games. Um, they do work. And depending on your family's like tolerance for things, you could throw in Cards Against Humanity, which is super fun. But, your family's got to be pretty open minded for that. But the key is distract, distract, distract.
I have an important question with the games here. So when you're playing charades, are you all in like smoking jackets, having port or brandy or something after dinner? Is that what's going on? Or
Charades?
I'm joking because it sounded super old, and that's what like old people do. You all sit around and like have after dinner drinks and play charades. No.
What is this, the 1920s?
That's what I was wondering. I don't know. You say you're like hanging out playing charades. Yeah, I do think games are a good idea. Games are fun. Apples to Apples is a good like PG version of Cards Against Humanity if there are kids involved or people who maybe get offended easily. But I do think games are a fun way to hang out with family in a low key way to kind of make good memories together and keep everybody positive. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, but I'd be curious to hear if our listeners have any other suggestions about ways to distract their family members from talking about these hot button issues, or just ways to like keep things on the level. Just
Mellow, yeah.
Yes, mellow.
Yeah.
Not
Or
rocking
just
boats during the
right.
holidays.
Or just what are your tips to enjoy the holidays? I mean, they're coming up soon. This will be coming out a week or two before Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, I think we'd love to hear if you want to share what are some ways that you, or some things that you do to really try to enjoy the holidays. I think that's always great to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave your comments.
There we go.
Make sure
Well,
you subscribe, people. Subscribe.
that's right. Well, I was going to say, too, we're getting close to our half-hour mark, so wanted to thank everybody for listening. And as Mike said, definitely make sure to leave us a comment, like this, subscribe, share it with a friend. Let us know what you're thinking. We appreciate you all, and we'll talk to you all later.
Good luck, guys.
See ya.